Pro Beauty Talks is a podcast series about the professional beauty world. Host Melanie Kopakin, industry strategist and beauty addict, brings you information, education, and inspiration from top beauty industry leaders, gurus, and influencers. This weekly podcast gives you a backstage pass and an up-close look at the people that make things happen. Meet top hairdressers, leaders of product companies, and owners of top salons from around the world. If you are already a part of the Pro Beauty tribe or just curious about the business of beauty, you won't want to miss a single show. Welcome to Pro Beauty Talks.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pro Beauty Talks, a podcast about the professional beauty industry. My name is Melanie Kopakin, and I am the host and co-producer of the show, along with Creative Age Publications. I want to share a little secret with you before we get started. This project, the podcast project, has probably been the most interesting and fun initiative I have ever been a part of in my professional career. I have always loved what I have done in the business throughout. At the same time, I have had my triumphs and my defeats, but somehow this is the most interesting and inspiring to me. And I was kind of wondering why that was over the weekend. It really was heavy on my mind, and I kept wondering, what was it about doing these interviews that was so self-fulfilling? And then it hit me. It's because of the people. People are what make the industry what it is, and I've always believed that. Candidly, having conversations with special people has opened my eyes and my heart as I hear people get personal. And they do that because they want to share their story, and they want to motivate, and they want to inspire. And I'm so grateful for that. So I think that this is an opportunity to be authentic and to be real. And that makes me happy. And it makes me just over the moon to be a part of Pro Beauty Talks. What's very cool about my guests is that they also feel like they're learning about themselves in the process. So it really is a win-win. Throughout my interviews, I've had the privilege of conducting for the show so far, have given me the opportunity to ask hard questions and to really get to know people and how they see things, why they do what they do. And I truly get to really know who they are. And that's one of my key objectives of the show. Some of my guests I have known for a long time, some for a short time. Some I've known by reputation, and some I've met for the first time when I arrange an interview. But no matter how long I've known them, I learn more about them. Today's guest is a good example. I had the pleasure of interviewing the extraordinary Sonya Dove. Sonya has a very impressive resume. She is Global Ambassador for Wella Professionals, Hair Color Council Creative Director of Intercoiffure for America and Canada, an award-winning hairdresser. Sonya is on the Ulta Beauty's Pro team as well, and she still finds time to work behind the chair, maintaining an exclusive clientele a few days a month. I had the pleasure of working with Sonya when I was at Wella for many years. What always stands out to me is her incredible sense of style and her unstoppable energy. And by the way, also that she's just plain nice. With that being said, what I learned about Sonya in this interview is her vulnerabilities, her ups and downs, and her personal revelations that changed the trajectory of her career journey. Thank you so much for joining me for this exclusive interview with the beautiful Sonya Dove. Good afternoon, Sonya, and welcome to Pro Beauty Talks.
Good afternoon, Melanie.
It's so great to have you. Now, we spoke, I believe, yesterday or day before, and you were in New York, and I just learned that you're back in California.
Yes, and I'm back in California just for a day. Then I'm back to New York and then Florida for more work. Very quick turnaround, but that's usual.
Oh my gosh. So what were you working on in New York?
In New York, I did a little tour of the Northeast coast for Wella, and I did a tour. I went from New York, then I went to Jersey, Long Island, Philadelphia, and then to Boston.
Wow.
So like a little mini tour back to back of visiting Wella salons, sharing with them the new initiatives, and of course, a bit about myself.
So this role with Wella is one of your many endeavors, and I have to say you're probably one of the most prolific artists I know in the industry. For our listening audience, what they may not know about you is that you have a number of really wonderful endeavors going on. Could you share a little bit about those things?
Yes, of course. My first endeavor is the one that I've had the longest. I've been with Wella for 30 years. I'm a guest artist for them. So I'm one of their artists that go around and travel and teach for Wella. I represent Wella North America, which is Canada and America. And also second to that, I'm a Wella global artist. So Wella has a global team. And what it is a representative that represents Wella from each country. So they have one for Asia, they have someone for France, Italy, Spain, and so on and so on. And I represent North America. So I work 2 jobs for them doing that. So I work for the global company and I work for North America. So that's a lot of traveling and education and shows, and it's a lot of fun. I love it. Then my other job I have is I am on the Ulta Pro team. So Ulta created a pro team of 6 members, and they all represent a brand. And we work together as a team and do all the education, the photo shoots, the technical videos, and anything like big shows in the industry representing Ulta. And we train a smaller team, and then they train other teams below them. So I'm an Ultra Pro team member, so I represent Wella and for that. So that's some traveling as well. I'm also the Intercoiffure Colour Council Director, and I've been the Colour Council Director for 3 years, and I represent colour in Intercoiffure when they have their shows in the spring and in the fall. So that's that. Oh, I've made myself exhausted talking about it.
Well, you're amazing, absolutely amazing. And I know that your work was also seen on Hunger Games. Is that correct? On Catching Fire a few years ago?
That's right. A few years ago, we had an opportunity. Christopher Dove and myself had the opportunity of doing wigs for the Hunger Games, and it was quite interesting. It really was. We'd never done anything like that before. It was quite the learning. It was a lot of fun, but also way more work and intensive work than I ever imagined in my life. So it gave us a taste of doing the hair for the movie studios. So now my hat goes off to anyone that's involved in movies, doing hair for the movies or makeup, because it is quite arduous. It's a lot of work. Oh, I know one thing I forgot to say. I do work in the salon as well. I do work on my clientele in a salon, and I work 4 to 6 days a month in the salon. And I just like to keep my clients up. I have a clientele of 10 years that I don't like to let go of, and they don't like to let go of me either. So I do work in the salon.
So literally, Sonya, you do it all. You're on stage, you're educating for Wella, you're educating for Ulta. Wella has the studio, the World Studio in New York, and then the new studio in Calabasas, I believe. And you're in academies and salons all over the world, and you're doing hair behind the chair, visiting salons and filming and photo shoots and so much more. I think, really you are the true definition of a celebrity hairdresser. Did you ever...
Thank you.
Oh, obviously, it's just absolutely amazing, your body of work. Did you ever envision your life to be so big and so full?
Oh, my goodness, no, never. And it's funny, Melanie, as you said about celebrity hairdresser, sort of was just about to say to you, oh, no, I'm really not. But to be honest, Wella has a celebrity ambassador, and it's Sophie Turner from Game of Thrones. She's been our ambassador for a year now, and I have the wonderful opportunity of doing her hair color. So I do color Sophie Turner's hair all the time, and I've really got to a point that she won't let anyone else touch her hair. So I'm really grateful for that. But that also adds on more traveling and more work. That's a lot of fun, and I do get to see Sophie quite often, and I'm responsible for all of her hair color changes for movies, roles, or whatever Sophie does, as she is our Wella celebrity ambassador.
If you didn't do this, what do you think you would be doing career-wise?
Easy, easy, easy is the first thing I say in every interview. I never wanted to be a hairdresser at all in any shape or form. I fell into it like a gift from God or destiny. I would be a nutritionist. That's what I wanted to be. When I was young at school, I took all of the exams to be a nutritionist. So more of a homeopathic, someone I believe a lot in eating food the right way. And like my staff in the salon, if anyone was ever had nausea or felt sick, I cut up ginger root, organic ginger root, and put it in hot water and get them to drink that, compared to going to a drugstore and buying something off the counter. So I am very passionate about that. I loved studying for it, but unfortunately, I failed every single time on one subject, which was biology. And you needed to have an A grade in biology to be a nutritionist in the 70s when I was studying.
What actually finally brought you to the United States?
What brought me to the United States is a husband and wife called Linda and Shelton Ogle had 4 salons and 5 schools in the Dallas Metroplex. And they were Intercoiffure members, and they saw myself and Christopher do shows all over for Intercoiffure, and they asked us if we would ever come to their salon and teach in Texas. So we created a relationship with them. We taught in their salons. We went round to all their salons and schools in a period of 2 weeks. We were living in England. And then we did that for about 5 years. And then one year they said, would you ever be interested in moving to America and living here if we got your green card and you be our creative directors for the company? And we said we would, and we did. And that's how we came to the United States. It was Shelton and Linda Ogle in Texas. They have Shelton Salon. They had Ogle schools and they have Shelton salons.
Do you get back home often?
I think it's often because I fly a lot all the time, about once a year maximum. Sometimes it's as little as once every 2 years.
You know, when we were talking a few days ago, we had spoken a little bit about this new distinction that's been given to you lately as people are referring to you as the Oprah of hairdressing.
Yeah, yes.
And I think it's such a big deal, really. And I was wondering what you think that means and how do people link you and Oprah in their minds?
Okay. This might be a long answer because I've just come from a little tour of the Northeast, and I'm going to be leaving not tomorrow, but the day after, and doing another tour. I realized something. I'm not sure how to describe this exactly, but I had a big epiphany about 5 years ago. I was 50, I'm 55 now. And I had this realization that I do things for everybody else and never for me. I've been doing a lot of work the last few years on my own as Sonya Dove, because it used to be Christopher Dove and Sonya Dove as the Doves. And when Chris left Wella, I was left there standing on my own 2 feet, which was a very scary moment for me. And for a few minutes, when he resigned, I had the thought of, I'm not going to be in hairdressing anymore because I'm not good enough. And then I had a lot of people talk to me to persuade me to stay in doing hairdressing. And if it wasn't for those people, I would not be where I am today. They persuaded me and made me understand that I am Sonya Dove. I'm good at what I do. So I realized I have quite low self-esteem. So I started to build my personal conversations with people and personal things into my hairdressing work. As soon as I started to do that, so many people I speak to can relate. And it's not something I'm really proud of, but I can guarantee you every salon I go into, I was just in a salon the other day in New Jersey, big salon, just 40 people. It can go from a small group to a large group. When I start to tell them about my story, it hits something for them. And before I know it, everybody's got tears in their eyes but it's a good cry. It's a cry of empowerment and understanding that is, a happy cry. And I really realized that I can inspire and empower people, not just with hair, but in life. And I've started now to mix that in my hairdressing talks. And it's made it so busy because I'm helping people in their lives. And that's bigger than hairdressing.
Right. That authentic nature of, just being revealing of the true self that you are. I think that's absolutely amazing. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to find out more about this and also about where you get your energy. We'll be right back. This episode of Pro Beauty Talks is brought to you by Creative Age Publications. Creative Age reaches nearly 500,000 industry professionals around the world, providing readers and followers with in-depth technical and business education, news, and industry buzz. Its magazines, available in print and digital formats, cater to all segments of the professional beauty market: full-service salons, nail salons, day spas, medical spas, open-line beauty stores, distributors, and manufacturers. Creative Age publishes Beauty Launchpad, Beauty Store Business, The Colorist, Day Spa, Metaesthetics, Nail It, and Nail Pro. Follow us on social media or visit us at www.beautylaunchpad.com. Okay, everyone, welcome back. Sonya, I'd like to go back to what we were just talking about this sharing of your authentic nature and how that helped you as much as it's helped your audience and all of these young hairdressers that look up to you. Can you share a little bit more about that with us?
Yeah, well, for so long, I did that looking good, and everything I did came from my head. So if I explain, I'm very much into our mind controls us, everything that we have going on, and then we can choose to listen to our heart. So that person that I was just on the treadmill of just doing, like I would just do what everyone felt was best, and I would like to just please them. Then I had a couple of epiphanies, couple of things. Is I did a show on my own. I was so scared and nervous for doing it, but it was my first big show. It was for about 4,000 people. I've even forgotten where it was. It was called the Behind the Chair show, and it was BTC show, color show that they do every year. And I was there on my own, and I had the main headliner spotlight. And so I can't even tell you the nerves. So I did a show based on a show that I wanted to do for myself. And I was encouraged to do that by everybody because I'm so used to doing things what other people wanted me to do. And the people around me said, do something that you want to do. So I truthfully did that. When I did that show, it elevated my career. I cannot even tell you. It went right up. I had a standing ovation from these people, and it went on and on and on. And then from that point, all the media had me on their front covers and everything, that I had changed the industry for something different. All I did was I just talked authentically and honestly about what I like and what I like to do, and I showed hair to show that. So I thought, wow, being real is quite a cool thing. It's so much simpler to do and so much easier. So after I did that, then my boyfriend said to me about going to this thing called Burning Fan, which is a festival. And it's not that the festival should be for everybody. What it is the whole idea of this is I did something for myself. It was for a full week. And I never mark out a week in my calendar, never, ever for myself. And he persuaded me, oh, you've got to do it for you. You must do it. He explained it was all things that I like. music and nature and camping and in the middle of nowhere. But he said, you won't be able to get hold of your work or anything. No cell phones work or anything. And I said, oh, I don't know if I could do that. He persuaded me to go. I went, and I had a bit of a breakdown when I was there, because when you're left with just emptiness and quiet and doing things for yourself, you can have a bit of a break. I had a bit of a breakdown, and I had a huge turnaround in my career and an epiphany of starting to live my life for me, not for others. And that was the second thing that added to that way of Sonya Dove changing, let's say. I came back from that, and I came back a new person. I now talk to people about giving to themselves something that they love to do. For me, my love is camping and Burning Man and music and dancing. And if Wella comes up with a show that's an around the world tour, I will not give up my personal time to miss Burning Man. So I thought, wonder how many people have got to that. So I started to build it into my talks, and then I realized everybody can relate. We're all so busy. Hairdressers and makeup artists, therapists, massage or beauty, we're all in an industry of giving back and giving out and giving out. We need to give back to ourselves, even if it's a small amount, but it's very important. So that's how that happened.
That is kind of like a spiritual awakening.
Actually, Melanie, perfect. Spiritual awakening. Do you know what? You're the first person that's ever spiritual awakening. That's lovely.
It just came to me. I have no idea from where, but I think that's amazing.
Yes, spiritual awakening. Yeah, I add that to every single thing I do.
And that brought everything together for you.
Yes, and that's why I get called the Oprah of hair, because I have letters and things from people, and it's nothing about haircut, color or style or manufactured product. It's much bigger than that. It's about life. And that's what I want to do. I want to encourage everybody to not leave it too late, because the only thing that happened with that spiritual awakening, I had it at 50. I just wished I'd had it at 25, 30. So I do hold a little bit of resentment with that, which I work on.
Well, you're lucky to have had it at all. To your point, a lot of people go through their lives and never, ever have that opportunity. They never have it happen. Sonya, you have what appears to be like endless energy, and it just bubbles out of you, and it's infectious, I have to say. I've known you for a while, and I just love being around you. And people love that about you, and it's obvious that you love people. As a result, you're a mentor to so many hairdressers, and especially through this personal growth that you have just gone through. How do you ignite passion and energy in others?
So we're all made up of different sort of ways of being. And to be honest, my nickname since I've been a young girl was a Tasmanian Devil, that little black and white cartoon character that spins around like a tornado. So I've always been like that. But what I tend to do is I tend to suppress myself based on who I'm with. So I spent many years of my career with Christopher Dove, and I just chose to be quieter and listened. And I was quite a quiet person for a while. Now I've been unleashed to it being just myself. It's allowed that personality to come out more and more, because I'm just me. I'm just Sonya Dove now. But I've always been like that. And also, to me, I'm very energized about one thing in life. And if I may say, I have a huge, huge passion for something, and it's called people. People are my passion. I wanted to be a nutritionist because I wanted to heal people. So the way I got into hairdressing, when I couldn't make it for being a nutritionist, someone asked me a simple question: why did you want to do that? And I said, oh, I can tell you it's because of people. And then that person said, well, if you like people, why don't you look into going into hairdressing? And it was as simple as that. So the energeticness, this is because I love life. I love people. I love finding out what they have to offer, even down to someone that's homeless on the street, I'm energized into finding out about them because I know at one point they have such a lot to give in a conversation to make someone else better.
You are a giver, and you have that empathy and that passion, and it's so contagious. How about you? When do you get replenished? How do you relax? How do you prepare yourself for your next adventure?
Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. I find it very, very difficult on a daily basis. I am not good at giving to myself. So I have little things pinned round my house, little post-its, little sayings. In my wallet, I have little sayings. I love something that Marianne Williamson said about being great in life. I always carry her little quote around in my wallet. And what happens when I get up in the morning and I go to do a class, I read it. So it's a conscious daily effort to do that. And I don't do it well, I have to be honest. So I read little quotes and things that keep me like that. And what I try to do is I try to give something to myself. But I have to say, it is so hard with my work schedule. An example, what I love to do is my happy place is either being near water, near the ocean, let's say sitting on the beach quietly, or it's being out somewhere in nature. I love to go camping. I love the quietness. I love to see the sky at night with the stars. And then the other thing is I like dancing to house music. So that's something as well. So I try and combine nature and dancing, which is like some music festivals out in the middle of nowhere. So my boyfriend tells me about them. 99.9% of the time I can't go because of my schedule, but I book out if I can go to something. And one of them is Burning Man. So every year I book out Burning Man. It's a full week and nothing stops me from going there. I come back a whole new person. A couple of things on my bucket list of places to visit, to travel. I'm working through them very slowly. And then another thing is I love eating. So my boyfriend and I going for a really nice meal in Los Angeles when I'm home is another way that I can disconnect and refresh myself.
I saw some of your photographs from Iceland. That's on my bucket list.
Oh, yes. I've got a lot more places on my bucket list, but I have to say it's not easy. Like, as I'm talking to you, Melanie, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm looking down at my toenails. I've got my flip-flops on because I'm in California. I'm looking down and I'm just looking down thinking one day I'm going to treat myself to a pedicure. I have never had a pedicure in my life.
Oh my gosh, we have to make that happen.
And I'm just thinking, as I'm talking with you, looking down, I'd love to have some painted toenails. I just do it myself. I don't paint my toenails. They're just natural. So now that's going to be on my bucket list. Some of the things are so simple, but so hard to do.
It seems self-indulgent, but yet it's self-love.
Yeah, 100%.
How about mentors, Sonya? Have you had mentors that come to your mind from your past or in the present time?
Oh, mentors. I mentor a lot of people. I'm the mentor to a ton of people, and the group gets bigger and bigger because I'm that giving person. For me, I have some friends that I look at them as mentors, but they're all workaholic people like I am. So that's probably not a good thing. But there's someone that's the CEO, the global CEO of Wella. She's called Sylvie Moreau. She's a lady. She's got 2 children, and she has a travel schedule that I have never seen anything like. Well, she's a global person for Coty. But the one thing about Sylvie is her birthday is the same day as mine. It's May 4th. And we're very like-minded, very, very similar. But she goes on a lot of vacations. She makes the vacation happen for her and her family and herself. And so I look at her posts often and it makes me realize I've got to do it. Because if Sylvie can find 2 days with her family, I can find it because she travels 100 times more than me, but she's always traveling. She always goes on vacation very, very often.
And that's a great sign of a leader who exhibits that kind of thing, because most of us, mirror our leaders and we feel like we have to be workaholics like they are, whether it's natural or not. But I think that that's fantastic. That's wonderful.
And may I just quickly say one thing, because this might speak volumes to some people, is the reason I go to follow her, Sylvie, is because Sylvie Moreau told me something years and years ago. And because she's the same birth sign as me, I relate to it. I cannot relax at home. So if I have half a day off or a day off and I'm at home, there is no way I will be off. So my boyfriend knows that for me to relax, he would do something like this. Let's go and book to stay in Shutters Hotel, which is literally 3 miles away from me. And he'll book a night in Shutters so that I'm not at home so I can relax. And that is why Sylvie Moreau does not spend hardly any personal time for her at home. And I relate to her. So I have to be out of my house to relax. I can't relax at home.
I think that's a great tip for people, because when you're home, you look around and you see so many things done or undone or things you need to do, and you don't really unplug.
Exactly.
Sonya, if you were to start all over, I don't mean before hairdressing, I mean as a hairdresser, if you were to start from the beginning, would there be anything that you would do differently about your career?
Career differently? No, not really. I'm very persistent as a person. I like consistency. So if something didn't work, I just do it again and again and again until it does. Not really, because for me, it's all these things. I spent 3/4 of my career with Christopher Dove. I've only been Sonya Dove as a brand for the last 5 years. So I don't regret any minute spending it with Christopher. It was a great learning. It was a great thing for us both. And time came that we had to separate. All the people I've met, career-wise, no. I probably would have chosen a simpler and easier personal life than I've had, but it's given me some wiseness. That's all I can say about that, but not career. No, it's been great.
That's a healthy perspective when you can consider it learning, right? Everything is learning.
It is. You know what? Melanie, everything is meant to happen. I believe that destiny. I believe in destiny. I believe that we've got lessons to be learnt in this life. If we don't learn them in this life, we're going to get it again and again until we learn them. I'm just a believer in that. So I have that philosophy in the way I look at my hairdressing career. I'm pretty relaxed about it. I don't get too irritated if something goes wrong, because it was meant to go wrong for the right reason.
What pearls of wisdom would you give a new young hairdresser just starting out? Because all of them are coming into school, out of school. They're looking up to you. And, they just probably don't have any clue as to where to begin. What pearls of wisdom would you give them?
Some pearls of wisdom. First one would be never lose sight of why you first thought in your head to start hairdressing. Don't lose sight of that dream. Just always keep it there. It may never happen. It might not come for years. But if you keep that as a thought in your head, you'll be going towards that goal. Be authentic in everything you do. Be real. Be very, very... I think something that really helped me with Christopher and I being together, if you can partner up with a friend in your industry that sort of will help you, because sometimes I felt too tired to do something. Christopher would say, oh no, come on, we've got to do it. And he would pull me up, and vice versa. He felt whatever he felt. And I would say, oh no, let's do it. If you have somebody to ally with you, it's a lot easier. So have a network of friends around you that will keep you grounded. Always give it your 100%. If you work in a salon, like I work in a salon, don't bring your personal life to your clients or your guests. because they have their own personal lives, and you have to be there and present for everybody that you meet, whether it's meeting your clients in the salon or co-workers you're working with. Just love what you do. And if you don't love what you do, don't be in it. Like, if you genuinely don't like it and you've exhausted everything, look at what it is that's not working for you and tackle that problem. I think just be persistent, consistent, just the love of what you're doing. And also another thing in hairdressing, there's so many factors that you can be. You could be a hairdresser, editorial hairdresser for the movies. You could be an owner of a salon. You could just have a great clientele. Whatever it is you want to do, focus on that and don't be anything and everything to everybody.
That's perfect. So just on a personal note, do you prefer coffee or tea?
Tea.
I knew it somehow. I was going to ask you if you preferred the beach or the mountains, but I learned today that you love the water. So the beach is probably your preference.
Beach is preference, but close, as long as it's outside in nature. I don't like cities. I like nature, anything to do with nature. So it's a bit of both. But I have to say, when I hear the water and I can touch the water, it grounds me. So I must be water.
Sonya, thank you so much for joining us today. I so appreciate all of your insights, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you so, so much. Thank you so, so much. This has been great. I've actually learned a bit about myself talking to you.
I love that. It's all about self-discovery, right?
Oh, yes. And it's a daily thing. It's a daily thing.
For both of us. Well, a big hug, and thank you so much again.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Pro Beauty Talks. We are dedicated to bringing you the latest information about the professional beauty industry. You can subscribe to our podcast by visiting us on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. Check out our website at www.probeautytalks.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you have a question or suggestion for a future guest or topic, or if you're interested in sponsoring an episode of Pro Beauty Talks, please message us on our Facebook page or email our host at melanie@probeautytalks.com. Until then, we wish you a beautiful day.